This is Contractor Sense with Ruth King.
Welcome to Contractor Sense. Here you discover ideas, tactics, news, and information that matters to your contracting business and you. I'm your host, Ruth King. This episode is sponsored by Financially Fit Business. Get the business tool that makes your financial statements come alive and turns data into impactful graphs that help you see what is going on with your business. Go to www.financiallyfit.business and get started today. Thank you for joining us. Here's how we will help your business and you. Are you in the frustrating search for new software? It's time-consuming, and how do you know whether you've even chosen the right one? My guest today, Miles Fawcett, founder of FieldHub, gives you some questions to ask and how to find the right software for you. Miles, welcome to Contractor Sense.
Thank you, Ruth.
So let's talk a little bit. I'm not sure our listeners are familiar with what FieldHub is, so why don't you give us the overview of what the software does?
Sure. So FieldHub is an all-in-one application that provides the back office functionality for field service businesses. It starts with a lead coming into the system, so it provides a full CRM for managing those leads. It provides a proposal creation platform, so we'll build proposals out in FieldHub. When a proposal is converted into a project, we convert those proposals into work orders. We then manage all of the workflows and processes around a project, including requesting material, staging that material, transitioning that material to the field, installing it from the field, converting those projects into invoices when they're completed, and then all of the related accounting. So FieldHub is a back office kind of ERP application that's really optimized for companies that have the field service operations, inventory management, and any recurring revenue from maintenance contracts or anything of the sort.
And Miles showed me the software, and they do maintenance accounting correctly. Yay.
Yay. That's good. Thank you, Ruth.
There's so much software out there that doesn't do it accurately with deferred income and putting it into revenue when you actually do the work. It's amazing how much is out there that doesn't do that, but you guys in FieldHub do it right. So how did you get the idea to start FieldHub? I mean, it's not like, did you wake up one morning and, all right, I want to start a new software?
So I myself am a master electrician and had a low voltage electrical contracting firm that specialized in security and fire installations in the Washington, D.C. metro area. And prior to that, I was in software development. I actually did software architecture myself. So I was always thinking about how to solve operational challenges in my business through the lens of a software engineer and developer. So very soon after starting my electrical contracting business, I realized there was a real need for modern software that pulled all the pieces together. Before that, we had our accounting in QuickBooks, we had a CRM, we had other tools for managing the field and inventory. And so there was a lot of duplicate silos of information, and I wanted to, as much as possible, consolidate those into a single platform where we enter a lead, build out the proposal, and we never enter that person's contact, site information, bill of materials again. It just converts through the system. So that was a core need. And then the other was that I found a lot of those systems didn't work the way a field service business operates, where we have accounts. Those accounts have sites. Those sites might be a part of a builder contract initially and then transition to a property owner or property manager. And then those sites have systems. They have maintenance or inspection schedules that are associated with those systems. So there was some structure of how the data was organized that I just couldn't find in any of the products that were available. And then that all-in-one was the kind of golden ticket. That's what we wanted. We didn't want to be duplicating information in different systems.
Yeah. And I've looked at the software, and number one, you guys have inventory right, and you make it seamless into the accounting side, which are my two big things in terms of making sure job costing is right and making sure that the information flows accurately and flows easily. So we've talked about the the side for projects, but what about like service and dispatch and those types of things?
Yeah. So part of being focused on field service type businesses, so we have a full dispatch board. It has real time status, so we can see where the technicians are traveling to, where they're checked in, where they're on breaks. Um, and as a part of that, of course, there's a field service mobile application, which is a native mobile application on iOS and Android. So even if the technicians are in and out of data service, um, if they're out of data service, they can still see their schedule, check into projects, install material, get customer sign-offs, document the project with photos and notes, all of that within the application, even if they're out of data service, and it all syncs up once they're back in data service. And that time tracking is for job costing. One of the benefits of an all-in-one system where we have job costing, labor, material installed, so we can have real-time visibility on WIP, is that there is real-time job costing. So that was another important part of bridging the gap between multiple systems. Having everything in one system means we have the entire general ledger, the expenses, the revenue, the WIP, the deferred revenue, how we're recognizing that all in a single system. So the visibility is just can't be beat.
Yeah. So if somebody was looking for a new software package, what would be the first question you would tell them to ask?
How does it align with my business? And that's a delicate question, because if you're considering how does it align with my industry, I think is an important one, because there's a lot of software that can be adapted um, to any industry, whether you're selling widgets online, manufacturing something, or a field service operation. And once you choose software that can do all of those things, you're making big compromises in how well it can do the field service operations, the installation, the mm, um, retention, revenue tracking. All of those things are compromised once you get a kind of a very generalized. So how does it align with our industry? And then I would say internally should ask the question, how are we, how are we as an organization willing to implement our workflows, but also adopt the workflows of the software? If it's designed for the industry, then there are probably a lot of best practices that are just baked into the software that can really accelerate how a company can grow.
Absolutely. So before we take a break, if somebody's interested in Field Hub or talking with you, how do they get in touch with you?
They can go to fieldhub.com, fieldhub.com. There's contact information. There's the ability to view a recorded demo of the software, and also to schedule a demo with our team. I'm also available just at Miles, Miles, at fieldhub.com.
Very good. We'll be right back. Thanks for listening to Contractor Sense.
Imagine you had total freedom. You didn't have to worry about money. You didn't have to be a slave to your business. The words, "I can't," are eliminated from your vocabulary. What if you could do what you want to do, whenever you want to do it? A financially fit business could give you that freedom. How? By knowing what your financial statements are telling you and taking action based on what they say. You can do this in less than 10 minutes a month, at an investment of less than taking your family out to dinner once a month. And if your financial statements are a mess, you can get help. Go to www.financiallyfit.business or click on the QR code below to get started today.
We're back. Thanks for listening to Contractor Sense. I am speaking with Miles Fawcett, who is the founder of Field Hub, a piece of software that is totally integrated and seamless with respect to the accounting side, all the different things that we need in field service. Before the break, Miles, you mentioned something that I just had a chuckle about. It's like one of the questions was if it's got industry specific software, it's meant for this industry. It has some best practices in there. And the thing that made me chuckle is there's a lot of guys out there, none of you who are listening, of course, uh, who, who just, this is the way we've always done it, and I don't want to change.
Mhm.
So I do run into that at all.
We run into it all the time. I think that it's change is a challenge. There's just that's the reality. I think that, but the fact is that it's a short-term challenge for a long-term gain. Um, we all the time have, somebody who's doing AR or some function, and they've just been using the same software for 20 years. They don't want to change anything. And the first few weeks, they might feel frustrated that things don't work exactly the same way. There's a lot of muscle memory built into what they do. Our team will coach them through that transition. And sometimes they'll say, okay, well, show us what you were doing before the transition. And they would show, and we would count up that they were hitting, 12 keystrokes to do one thing. And we'll say, well, here's how you're going to do it now. It's maybe 3 keystrokes or clicks, and it's so much faster. But even though it's faster, it just takes some retraining of that muscle memory. And that can be frustrating because the muscle memory, they're not aware of 12 clicks. They're just doing it, and they're not aware of those individual clicks. But once they transition, then generally, again, it's maybe 3 or 4 weeks before they retrain that muscle memory. They're off and running, and they can't imagine going back because they're so much more efficient. And the kind of modern software can provide the type of automations that just sometimes we're able to eliminate whole functions of their role so they can focus on what really matters, focus on customer service, customer support, sales, rather than data entry or kind of recoding things, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Funny story that you talk about that many, many, many years ago. And for those of you who remember what T cards were for dispatch boards, I was working with a client who still had those, and it was the day that we were all getting into software. And they had a really good software system there for, from that perspective back then. All right. We're talking 90s. It's very different than it is today. And I told her, because she was exactly, Miles, as you were explaining, she did not want to change this. It was all muscle memory. She knew how to move the T cards around and everything like that. And I said, before I get here next month, that T card board will be gone and you're going to be using the system. And she just kind of looked at me, and the owner backed me up. And when I went back, she said, I was so afraid of doing this. And you were right. This is so much easier to do. And I think you basically are doing it from a modern approach, i.e., 30 years later. But it is, we are stuck in the weeds, and sometimes we just don't think of something that might actually be more efficient for us to do.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
But again, it's a short-term transition, and then it really can change people's day-to-day, improve it so significantly.
Yeah. And so from an owner's perspective, all the reporting's there, correct?
Yeah, all the financial statements, balance sheets, all the reporting that can be provided to your platform for analysis, and then a lot of ad hoc reporting, reporting that's specific to field service operations. What did my technicians install yesterday or last week? All of the time tracking, and then a lot of the recurring billing for maintenance contracts, which is all built in. Either kind of the recurring billing for those contracts or the recurring work orders, so that if a system requires a periodic maintenance, that can be configured, and that periodic maintenance can kind of kick off a workflow, auto create a work order, and those work orders then are feed into dispatch, and then they feed right into invoicing.
Yeah. One of the things that you and I talked about a lot was the recurring revenue and being such a critical part of this, because you and I both agree that recurring revenue is the key. So so let's assume somebody goes out and does a survey. They can put that information into the software, and it follows all the way through to the point of actually winning the contract and then executing on the contract, correct?
Yeah, that's right. So executing on the contract and even beyond. So when the contract is completed, the material that was installed at that site can be converted into a system at the site that is then tracked. So it makes it very easy for service and support. They know exactly what was installed, when, warranty tracking, any warranty pricing is tracked. And I'll just add, Ruth, to the point about the recurring revenue. Of course, the recurring revenue is so important just from the perspective of cash flow. Um, Dealing with cash flow, if there's any kind of slowdown in business for whatever reason, environmental, economic, any reason at all. But also, it maintains that relationship with the customer. So even if we're doing a maintenance where we drop in once a year or twice a year to clean and service equipment, having that recurring billing and relationship when they're ready to upgrade or replace, you're going to be the ones who they call. So that recurring revenue is important for so many reasons.
Yeah, and the other thing is if the building gets sold or a house gets sold, guess what? You've got still the data. They're just going to change the name on it, right?
That's right. Yes, and Field Hub makes that very easy, where the site information and the systems associated with that site can be transitioned from one account to another, or even associated with multiple accounts at the same time. So if we have a contract with a builder, we're doing all the work, property owner comes in and they want to add some ancillary systems, or a tenant, we can associate all of those owners, builder, property managers, all with that same site. So as that site moves from account to account, we never lose any information about what was installed, when, what service calls have we done. All of that's retained throughout the process.
Which makes life so much easier.
Yeah, and all the photos, I should say, we really, the app encourages technicians to take lots of photos. Those photos feed right into the site and work order information. And when I was operating the electrical contracting company, I usually started my day and ended my day looking at those photos. At the end of the day, I would say, okay, what did we do today? Reviewing all the photos of the work. I could see how they did it, what was done, provide immediate feedback. And then at the beginning of the day, looking at the service calls that were going to go out and being able to take a look at the photos. And we could say, okay, show me the photos of this project when the walls were all open, when we could, had access to see everything, so that we get the information we need to make sure we're fully prepared for those service visits so that we can do one service visit, knock out the problem, and move on.
Yeah, absolutely. Give us the website again.
Yeah, the website is fieldhub.com, FIELDHUB.com.
Very good. And final thoughts.
Yeah. Oh, final thoughts?
Yeah,
I
good.
just think, yeah. Well, again, I mean, I love the industry. I love software. And I think that, and I love this business because we just had a gathering of a lot of our customers. We all met up in Baltimore, and the customers were so passionate about what we were doing. And we have an exercise every year where, in addition to doing a lot of training, we brainstorm on like, what features do you all want to see in Field Hub? What would make your lives easier? And everybody puts up sticky sheets with ideas, and then they all vote on them. And then we convert those into our roadmap and incorporate them into our roadmap as much as possible. And that's a really exciting process. And it feeds into the kind of 11, 12 feature releases, major updates we make to the software every year, where our customers are then receiving those new features almost every month. So I think the engagement in the community of users is definitely what I enjoy the most.
Very good. Miles, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Ruth.
And thanks to all of you for joining us. Choose one thing you discovered and implement it in your business. These ideas, tactics, and strategies help you make more money, have more free time, and give back. If you like today's program, spread the word. Please review this podcast on any device you're listening to it on. Help the fellow contractor make more money too. For comments or questions, call me at 770-729-0258 or email Ruth King at hvacchannel.tv. Thanks for listening. Have a great and profitable day. And we are done.
Thank you, Ruth. That was great.
No, I appreciate that. And so I will see you next Tuesday morning. We're going to do breakfast at 8, correct?
Yes, I have a reservation for us at the, I haven't stayed at the Four Seasons Vegas, but at the restaurant. Assume it's off the lobby right there.
Okay. So I'll show up and then I'll say I'm here and you can come find me. How's that?
That sounds good.
All right. Safe travels to
All right,
Vegas.
Ruth. You
All
too.
right.
Take care. Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.